You're about to enjoy a Cloudcast original. Local stories, local storytellers, local brands.
Have you ever felt that you as a woman may not appear to measure up when you see incredible women in strong roles? You may be surprised when hearing from women in these positions and how we all share many of the same challenges. Thank you for joining us for the SheEO Leading In podcast with Rebecca Jones as we share the journeys of women.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Jones, your host of SheEO. We are on an exploration together to discover more about the personal journeys of incredible women in both career and life. We all have paths to share that sometimes take incredible turns, deep resilience, and courage to navigate. My hopes are that the challenges shared here encourage women to take leaps of faith and growth when a journey feels too difficult or unachievable. There is great strength deep within each one of us. These stories are meant to share the ways strong women have taken their dreams to strive and thrive to new heights despite their sometimes rocky paths and found a way to lead in. So today I am here with June Cutter and Dina Cruden from Highland Illuminate. You are both the principals, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me how this all started. How did this little relationship start here, ladies?
Well, I ran for office in the 2020 cycle. And when the time came after Election Day and I had lost my race, I knew that I wanted to stay in the arena. And Dina had kind of made a shift and was working with another candidate as well. But we decided that we just looked at each other and said, we could totally do this. We saw a void in the market here in San Diego, and we thought that there was no one better to fill it. So here we are.
And it was really interesting because so many people would say to us, but you guys are also like good friends. How are you going to work together? And I think we took it the opposite of like, isn't that a great thing? Like we have a great balance. We know our strengths. We know where we can lean on each other. And so I think, honestly, we sat down, we put together what we would like to say, like our marriage agreement, our prenup. And we just thought, you know what, we really feel a drive. We're at a point in our life that we want to make a really strong impact and be behind people and organizations that we believe in. So we launched on January 4th. And I think it was just in a matter of weeks, we were just so amazed at how many people had reached out to us, either in support or recommendation of clients for us to consider.
And I think during the pandemic, there really has been a shift of people wanting to work for themselves. I was talking about this a little bit earlier. I think a lot of the big corporate jobs are not as attractive any longer. And I think people are really looking at how can I have more something that fits my lifestyle where I can try to balance things a little bit better and, have that freedom to be my own boss. And the two of you are very different. I love that 100%. About you two. Even though you're great friends and you get along, you really do have these separate strengths. And so you're doing political fundraising, but I think you do a little bit more than that as well. But what really got you into the arena for both of you? June, for you to actually run for political office. It's definitely not for everyone. And then you, Dina, for, how you were involved and how you guys made that shift to say, okay, let's work together. And how did that all happen?
So I was peripherally involved in politics as a supporter, making phone calls or donating and basically just being kind of on the outer edges of the political scene. And then when 2019 came around, there was kind of a shift in my local area here in San Diego, and I felt like our representative wasn't doing the things that he should do. So I decided that I was going to take on the challenge myself, and I kind of created this whole platform of moms and working women going forth and taking their community back. So it was kind of just a leap of faith. And then it turns out I was pretty good at running my campaign. I was pretty good at raising money. And it gave me a sense of purpose and passion that I didn't really have with my prior career, which was litigation. So that's kind of how everything kind of evolved. And when the race was over and done with, I kind of had to reassess what I wanted to do with my life. And going back to practicing law 40 hours a week didn't seem like the right thing for me. And I decided to just do what I'm good at.
And I think for me, I worked for a Nestle food company for 15 years in marketing. So a lot of it was brand building, strategic partnerships. And I just had this comfort level of doing that. And then when I had my daughter, we had lived overseas and I took some time off. And when we came back, I just thought, I have this opportunity to do something I feel passionate about. And so that really evolved into the nonprofit world. I was really fortunate to be brought in to work on, at the time, Mayor Kevin Faulkner and his wife Catherine's nonprofit One San Diego. And within that, I became really exposed to almost the political arena of San Diego. And, I will always have that passion for nonprofit. I believe in the strength of communities and the strength of people building them. But I also, I'm really good at fundraising. I have no problem asking and getting sometimes that answer no. But I think with all of that, the one thing I think that June and I do well is that we think about everything from a strategic standpoint. So we think about whether it be the candidates we're working with or the nonprofits, and who do we position those to that people feel passionate about. So I think we really approach our way of interacting with our candidates as well as the donor base completely different than people have done in the past. So it's been a really great way for us, I think, to move forward and know that we work with people that we feel that passion for too. I think that's a big difference.
And we're really lucky to have the luxury of being able to say who we want to work with and who we want to work for. And we only put forth people that we truly believe in. And that's not a luxury that everyone has. So we're really thankful for that.
Well, I think, too, politics, when people look at politics from the outside, they think it's all about getting elected to office. And I think, June, you figured this one out. Maybe that wasn't exactly right for you. Maybe it will be at some point in time. But there's also this other part of politics, and that is, again, finding the right people that you feel can really do a good job, that you're passionate about, that have some of the same values as you, but also care. And I think that is one of the things that I see in both of you is that you both really care. And I don't know if that's specifically a woman thing, probably not. But as far as the candidates that care and how you translate that into the people that you're choosing to represent, and then also the nonprofits that you're choosing to represent, because let's face it, not everyone cares. Right. Sadly, there are a lot of people that run for political office, and then also nonprofits that don't care the same way as you, and so really finding those. I don't want to call it a brand, but it is sort of a brand that fits your brand is also really important. And I like that you're both doing that. But again, politics could be about a lot of different things.
Yeah, I absolutely think it is a brand, though. Yeah. And one of the things that we've kind of done that hasn't been done before is we call it brand-based fundraising, because the candidate is the brand. It's not just about one person running. It's the whole message, the whole presence, the whole image, and that all comes together. And without branding yourself in this day and age, I think it's impossible to raise money.
And I think, the caring and the wanting, the need to give back in some capacity as well. I mean, June was president of our school's PTA. I was president of our school's foundation. So that's one way that we really started to work together. And you don't go into those things just because you feel like you have nothing else to do. And, we were at a school that could raise a substantial amount of money, a public school. But I think that just transpired into, okay, we've done it in our own community. Now, how can we help people realize that, having the mayor elected, that's important to your community? What is that value that we can help show that? So I think that passion has always been there. It wasn't that it just all of a sudden came up because we wanted to have a business.
Right. Okay, so switching gears.
Okay.
A word that describes you. And I think the two of you probably have very different, as we discussed earlier, you're very different. But again, you both mesh. So what is one word, Dina, that describes you?
Fiercely loyal.
That's good. June.
I have to be honest, and maybe I shouldn't be too proud of it, but I would say control. I like to always be in control and have things done exactly a certain particular way. So.
Well, the truth is there have to be rules about things, right? If you someone needs to be in control of some things, right? And I think a lot of people nowadays especially feel very out of control of pretty much everything in their life because we don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next. I mean, look at the, pandemic, all of the things that we've learned about ourselves. There is a certain amount of control that everyone likes. I don't think that's unique to you, though, again, if you didn't have control and you didn't like control, then you would not be as productive as you are. So someone's got to have that quality for sure.
I kind of take it to the next level, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but the truth is,
right?
You've got
Like
a
you
team.
balance out.
Yes,
right? And so,
absolutely.
I know I'm very passionate when I believe in something. I'm very comfortable being in front of people and talking to people. And I think the nice thing is we really do balance each other's strengths out and then pick up things as well. So like we'll joke, I'm like, thank God she's got some of this back end stuff because some of that nitty gritty stuff is the control things that need to happen. And then I have no problem going out in front of people and talking about things as well. So it's been a great relationship in that perspective too.
Well, again, you both have strengths and weaknesses, and how do you fill those in? And I think having people that are pretty different but can get along is really important in that. And, just moving forward to taking the leap of faith to starting your own business. And, June, you were an attorney by trade.
Yep.
And then you went into, the whole political arena. This is a nice balance for you too, because you can also bring forward a lot of your, your legal expertise. And then Dina's got this really creative side to her. You have that too, but really marrying the two. And I do love how you said that. That was our prenup.
Really,
I love that. But truly, I mean, a marriage is normally not about two people exactly the same, because that doesn't generally work out.
And I think for our clients, what's really nice is that, when we meet with them, we always say, you're getting both of us, right? So we pick up for one another on a lot of areas, and it's never just Jean or it's never just me. We may take lead on certain aspects, but we want our clients to know that you're getting both of us behind the scenes.
I think we've kind of brought this new dynamic to the fundraising world because we're coming into it both as second careers. We're at an older, more mature place in our life, but we've been through that first career and we bring those skill sets to the table. And unlike a typical fundraising company where you have one principal and then you're doled out to a junior associate, that doesn't happen with us. You have two principals who bring two skill sets to the table, and it's basically twice the bang for your buck, if you want to call it that. But I think we've really made something special here, and I'm really proud of what we've been able to build in a short period of time.
And it's been great for us to show our daughters. So, I have a 14-year-old and Megan's 12. And it's really funny. They actually mirror us very much. But, they've come to events with us. And it's great for them just to understand, actually what we do. Right. So for me, I love that, when Ava's come with me to an event and she's helped check in people, and I've seen her work a room, so to speak, and walk around and talk. And Megan really loves the political centric pieces of the things that we do. I love that they both see it and they understand that when we say, hey, we have an event this night, they can grasp what we're doing and why we're doing it too.
I love that. I was actually going to bring up about balancing family and work. But, you bring up a really important thing. I think as women, and, I've noticed this too. My daughter actually came to my first event as an adult because now she's 21. And she was really kind of marveling at how things work and how people look at political figures and just all the things that actually go into what it takes to run for office and be in the political arena, and really all of the different moving parts of it, because it isn't just, people running for office and it just happens. There's so much that happens to actually make that work. So talking about your girls, I think having two positive role models in their lives, and again, back to you both being very different, I think that's probably very cool for the two of them, of your daughter, Dina, seeing June as well and her style, 100%. And then, vice versa, June, your daughter, seeing Dina. I think it's really a very interesting dynamic that probably is happening in their heads right now. And to be so young and exposed to this, teen and a preteen, I think that's really valuable for life lessons. Mm-hmm. And you talked about the careers, actually, this being your second career. It also brings a level of experience, too, that is very different because, again, not from that political arena so much. But talking about responsibilities of your life and your family and all that and work. So how do we do this? Is this, I always felt like I was hard on myself. I thought, I don't feel like I do it very well. And, I have some guests saying, I work really hard on the 5-course meal. And then I have guests saying, we're lucky if we get chicken nuggets that day. Right. And I think, finding those balances and then not being too hard on ourselves is sometimes tough. So what does that look like?
I think you have to accept that it's not going to look perfect from every angle at every time. So,
but maybe perfect for you.
Perfect. Right. Yeah. And perfect for every family could be different.
Right.
So you really have to be able to make compromises within your own self of what you really want to do for your kids or for your spouse and your family, and what you can kind of let go. So for me, when I started campaigning, I was still working my law job. So I had a career and a campaign and a family to take care of. So I decided, well, I guess I'm not cooking or grocery shopping anymore, and those can be outsourced. But there are things that I don't want to outsource, like doing arts and crafts with my kids, or, making sure that they have a holiday tea party. Things like that I find are important to me and to my kids, I'll prioritize over the small things of like laundry and cooking and cleaning and all of those things that we kind of put pressure on ourselves to keep perfect for our families. We have to learn to let go, because the stress of trying to do it all might break us if we don't make those compromises.
Very good point. And I'm glad to hear that, being that you have this side of you, because it is, even if you are someone that likes to control some things, it's good to let some things, be outsourced, as you put it. And not being hard on yourself and accepting yourself to say, you know what, I can't do it all, but I still feel like this is perfect for my family. Right. And there are so many people that, look at the traditional type of families and, the mom not working and the dad working. And I'm saying, back in the 60s and whatnot. Right. But looking at that, saying that's what I need to somehow measure up to. But that's not the reality, I don't think, for most people. Most people have a very different dynamic than that. And it's whatever works best for your family.
Right. And for working women, I think it's often hard to kind of separate yourself from what you think that ideal family dynamic should be. Mm-hmm. I think once I heard this saying and it kind of stuck with me, and it says, as a woman, you can have it all. You might just not have it all at one time.
Oh, that's good.
And I've kind of stuck by that. Like, some days you have a lot of family time. Some days you don't see them from the minute they wake up to the minute they go to sleep. And that's okay, because you do what works for you.
And it's a season many times.
Oh, yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, Dina?
Yeah, I mean, I think the same, as what June said. Now that our kids, we have teenagers, so, they don't always want to be around us all the time. But for example, I block in the morning. I want to drop Ava off at school, and I want to try and pick her up. Like, to me, that time in the car with her is so valuable, because I kind of hear her mindset for the day. and then I hear kind of what her day ended like. And, in between there, I will, work everything that I can. I'll get up before everybody gets up in the house and try to get things done. But I find that the time I am with them, I'm really trying to shut off so I can really be engaged with them, because, they want to give us more limited time as teenagers. But, I agree with June, like it's never perfect. And you have to decide what inherently is most important for your family members. And, my husband and I try to really make sure we've got family dinner during the week, and we'll pick one thing on the weekend that we try and do with them. So it doesn't always feel forced too. Like, right. I actually think sometimes that adds more stress when you're like, well, we didn't do this, so let's make sure, Saturday and Sunday are booked solid with everyone. Yeah. It's more like, let's find something that feels meaningful and then walk away from that and be okay with it. But sometimes it's easier said than done. And, it's also nice to have a business partner to talk through that with, of just saying, I'm feeling super unbalanced this week, or I feel like we have not been home at all at night when the kids have gotten home for something. And we're good at reminding each other of like, okay, just shut off for a little bit. It's okay. Like, it's still all going to be there when you get back up.
Well, neither of us are the type to ever shut off.
No.
So we have to...
we need someone else to tell us.
So we have to force each other to shut off. But we're also both very lucky to have supportive spouses who kind of pick up the slack when we can't do everything for the family and for the kids. Like at our house, it's very much a really well-balanced partnership between me and my husband on what we get done for the family, for the house, for the kids. And so it kind of is like everything that we're doing, we've kind of built all the perfect puzzle pieces to it. But every once in a while, we have to remind ourselves that it's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to take a break. And that, if you feel like you slipped up on something, there's always room to make up for it tomorrow.
Yeah, and I honestly always believe that saying, right, of like, work hard, play hard. We work really hard, and then the things that we do, we really enjoy. So for us, it's vacations, taking our kids somewhere they haven't been before, and just letting everyone do what they want to do on that, so that we have memories. Like I was brought up, we traveled around the world, and memories are, when I see my parents now, what really I think invokes a lot of our conversation. And so I feel like Robert and I, or my husband and I, are trying to do that with our own kids, to say, you know what, we worked really hard, and you know what, we should be able to celebrate that. We want you guys to be a part of that with us. So
that's good.
Dina and I are opposites.
We're totally
opposite.
Going anywhere. She doesn't go anywhere. I'm always like, June, where should I go?
I'm like, oh, that sounds awful.
See, again, very different, but
very different.
But it works.
Yeah.
But it works. That's really good.
And I think, there's been times, right, both our husbands have brought the kids to events, which has been really nice for them to come, and, they become friends and all this, probably to help balance each other out of our own stress that we're bringing to them. But it's been working well.
So a lot of this leads back to lessons in life. And, when you're 20 years old, you have far less lessons, hopefully anyway, before, until you're our age. I'm a little bit older than you both. But when you look at all of the lessons that you've learned, what are some lessons that you would share with some young women or women leaders that maybe they could figure out how to translate to their life?
So for me, I never say there's mistakes. I always say experiences, right? So I think, things that happen in your life are an experience, and those experiences, hopefully, you can build off of. I truly believe that you should never have anyone you should never really be apologizing, right? So I feel like I know a lot of women that will start conversations with, I'm so sorry, but... And, you shouldn't have to apologize for something unless you were rightfully wrong in some doing. But, to me, those have always been the two biggest things of, experiences build so much character, and your reputation's built off your character. I can go to sleep at night feeling really good because I hope what I'm presenting is the character of myself. And, it's what I tell our kids is like, that is the one thing you can control is your character. And, I hope we instill in you the ability to do that too.
Yeah, very similarly, I always tell my kids, just be a good human. And I think that's the best advice I could give to anyone, male or female, coming up in this world, is to kind of understand your own moral compass and to not let yourself be swayed by outside influences to deviate from your own moral compass. And if you can go to sleep at night knowing that you are a good human that day, then you are a good, productive, and valuable member of society. So much like Dina says that their experiences, I think that every time you feel like you didn't quite get to your goal, or maybe you think of it as a failure, like that is not a failure. It's an opportunity for you to assess and take the next step in your life. Like some people might think running for office and not winning is a failure, but for me, it was a great opportunity to build something, a second career. Actually, it's a third career because I had one in between too, but to really make something of what you fell short. You fell short, but what are you going to make of it? You can't just sit there and cry and say, woe is me. You got to do something with it. And every mistake, every failure is an opportunity for growth.
Well, every experience, too, can pivot you a little bit or give you a little bit of a course change. And, you never know why. This is actually, I think I'm in my third career or something like that, because all of those things led me to where I was. Exactly. I actually can look back and go, wow, that really helped me for this. And that really, even just being a middle child, I feel like, oh, that really helped me in what I'm doing today. So a lot of our experiences, I think, are always, again, opportunities, but also a way that helps mold you. And, when you look at role models and all that, I always find that I can't really name one or possibly even two, because I look back and I say, I had so many contributions from so many different people that actually helped me become the best version, I think, of myself. And I continue to change. Every day I tell people, well, I'm going to be learning something and changing and evolving. That's something for sure until the day I die.
Right.
Those are all going to be things that help me experience, get those experiences help me to get to where I
When our kids were little, and I would drive all three of them to elementary school, if you asked them what I said every day, they would tell you. I'd always say, everybody has a story when they got out of the car.
They do.
And I wanted them always to remember that, because if someone was being mean or felt rejected, I just wanted them to remember everybody has a story. And, I feel like that's true very much through life. So there are situations I feel like, we're in sometimes, and I have to stop myself and be like, okay, I'm not really sure I know the background on this. So how do I reassess how I may react to this? And I think that's a really important skill set in business to have, because it's quicker. It's easier to jump to a conclusion than it is to kind of take that moment back. And, I agree with you. I can think back of all my experience at Nestle and pinpoint key people who had me do stuff that in that moment I thought, this is crazy that they're calling me out in front of 800 people to speak. And now I think I'm so thankful they did that, because now I can stand up and speak in front of an audience. So
I always go back to hurting people hurt. And when people are mean or, hateful or something like that, I look back and I go, okay, deep breath. It's not them. It's what happened to them and an experience that they probably have not used in a positive manner, but used in a negative manner. But hurting people do try to hurt others. So, and if you don't take those things with you and go, okay, I'm not going to do that, or, I'm going to let that wound me in a negative way, then I think it is back to the missed opportunity, or that opportunity, because we can all grow from things. In fact, we should all grow from things. What are your thoughts on that, June?
Well, how people treat you definitely says more about them than it says about you. And so I hope that when I'm out in the world and I interact with people, for the vast majority of the part, I hope that everyone walks away from speaking with me and interacting with me with a positive experience, because that's just kind of the energy that I want to put out into the world. I'm doing what I do because I want to help people, because I want to make the world a better place. And I hope that that comes across in everything that I do, from the smallest thing to the biggest thing.
So advice. What is your advice to the next generation of women leaders? Dina, what do you think? What is your advice?
I think stand strong for what you believe in and don't apologize for it. I go back to that because I feel like people are always changing their beliefs or inherently, something they've been so passionate about because they're so concerned about what someone thinks. And I think, honestly, social media has done that a lot. We talk a lot with having young girls, the impact of that. And so seeing them already trying to figure out changing things to mold to certain situations is something I feel like I grew up not having a really strong Italian mom. She was not apologetic about things, but always said to us, just be strong in your beliefs and be okay with that. And I think that transpires into every aspect of someone's life.
Given how different we are, we're very similar in how we think about the world, because my advice would be, to thine own self be true. Be true to yourself and don't waver. And it's really hard in this day and age to not be influenced by culture and by media and by your peers. But if you can stay true to yourself, then you can accomplish what you're meant to accomplish in this world.
And I think, to me, like, the caveat that with that is, though, like, be open to hearing other opinions, right? So you may have been brought up some way, but perhaps as the world changes and someone's presenting something, at least have the ability to be open and listen. You don't have to necessarily change your views, but maybe you're more accepting of that. Because sometimes I think the opposite happens if someone's so set that they're never going to look at anything else the other way. And I know, we see that a lot, obviously, in the political world. And, it's important that, you're able to pivot when needed.
Right. Empathy is so important. And understanding, while you're true to yourself, that everyone else's life experiences are different from yours and contribute to the situation or the dynamic that you're in. So I guess the advice is twofold. Be true to yourself, but also be empathetic.
And the whole listening part, too, that doesn't necessarily mean you need to change your beliefs, but to have that empathy to accept someone from where they're coming from and what their beliefs are and their thoughts are in a way that's not negative, I think is really important, too. And I think more positivity in the whole political arena and grace for other people really needs to happen. And I think that's how, and I tell people often, listen, you can't expect someone else to change. The change has to come within you. You have to say, okay, I don't agree with them, but I'm not going to hate them for that.
Right.
I'm going to accept them where they're at. They believe something that I don't believe, but I'm going to listen, and then I'm going to have empathy for them. And even though I do believe maybe deep down that they're incorrect about their thoughts and their beliefs, I'm not going to change who I am to change and be what they want me to be. Because, believing in what you believe in is also important, but also doing it, again, in an empathetic way.
There's great power in knowing, like, who you are and what you stand for, but also understanding that you're never going to change other people. And when you kind of let go of your frustration of, like, why won't that person change their ways? Yeah. Letting go of that frustration will give you so much more peace and give you so much more, like, ability to do what you need to do to fix your circumstances and where you are in your life.
Totally agree. So what's next for you guys? What are you going to do next?
As in, like, personally?
Yes. What does the next 10 years look like? I try to give myself small bites. 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
I love seeing us build what we are. I mean, honestly, we're not even at 1 year, right? So it's been phenomenal. I think we've learned a lot. We're constantly evolving and pivoting and figuring out, okay, what works best for our clients, what works best for us. I would hope in the next few years, as our girls get older, I would love to see them be a little bit more involved. I always say to Ava, it would be amazing for you and Megan to take this over one day. Like, how great would it be that you guys got to see us build it and then actually be a part of it? So, from a work perspective, I see us continue to grow. And hopefully, inspire some other people to do this as well. We always say that there's plenty to go around. We're not in this place where we want to hoard everything. So we're really open to other people coming and learning with us and sharing what experiences we have.
We love collaborating, and we're not your typical business hoarders, like Dina says. We're happy to share the wealth literally and figuratively, and just make sure that the greater good is what we have our eye on. But if Ava and Megan take this over in the next decade, Megan will probably say what I would say is like, all right, put a pin in it for a second. You hold down the fort. I'm going to run for office and come back.
Yeah. And Ava would be like, that's awesome, because I'll just keep doing all the events.
I love it. I love it. Oh, thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely.
I really loved hearing about your efforts and all the things that you're doing, and that people that are very different can be great friends, get along, and build something awesome together.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Now that was powerful. We hope you've been lifted and encouraged by today's inspiring voice. Always remember that life doesn't look exactly the same for each one of us. Never stop dreaming, striving, and thriving. In future episodes, we look forward to bringing you powerful stories from amazing women who learn how to lead in to challenges. Thank you for listening and being part of our community with SheEO host, Rebecca Jones.
You have been listening to a Cloudcast original. Local stories, local storytellers, local brands. Find more stories at cloudcast.us.